Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Mighty Misfit Menagerie, or...
Yes.
Yes, strangely enough, as we move into the summer months and this is being recorded, our blackout curtains blocking out that the sun is up much later, our characters are descending into possibly the darkest part of their journey as we begin the evening with 2 hours of Wild Beyond the Witchlight, followed by a brief break and 2 hours of Candlekeep Mysteries DM'd by Margarita. And I will actually have Blood's Heads up this week. Keep an eye on that. It will be last week for that.
Yay.
Yes. With that in mind, I will, unless there's any other business, turn it over.
I was just going to say that I love it when we do special events like that because I can force my husband to watch it because he doesn't have the excuse of, I would have to catch up.
But I mean, that's every Candlekeep too, because they're short and condensed enough, I think. You know?
Still an excuse.
Hope you're watching Candlekeep as well.
David! Speaking of getting an easy way to catch up, at the beginning of every episode, there's a little bit of talking, and then Helena gives a fantastic recapitation. So, if you need to catch up real fast, just watch the first, 3 minutes of every episode, and you'll be good to go.
I mean, I
Or
usually only forget a couple of things.
Or just email Helena and she will send you a personal
Recap.
recap of the entire story.
Stop punching Helena.
I can't guarantee that'll be accurate. But if somebody wants that, sure.
Give us money first.
Okay, so we turn to Cade, who has just shrunken down into a dollhouse. And he's exploring. He manifests with Aunt Shania, long dead, and she is a beacon of hope and casts a lovely glow upon him, which thankfully keeps the shadows that are writhing and swarming in this place from totally overtaking him. So he's exploring, he's looking around, he's cracking jokes, he is finding creepy things, he's hearing weird noises, and it's all great. He makes it to the top, and he finds the treasure. So he finds a bunch of toys, and mid those toys is his long-lost teddy bear. Woo! And so he's like, okay, this is very interesting. I'm going to take these toys. They seem to be important. So he goes back to the front door. It's open again. Yay, gets big. Meanwhile, we had all been doing some more exploring of Loon Lurch, kind of finishing up all these little rooms. We've got Will, we've got the kids. We're missing just a few kids. One you might not even notice we're gone. And Cody's a little bit suspicious of Will, especially when Cade returns. And
No, I grew suspicious of him when we were fighting the snakes in the pumpkin patch. And
he
he
had
suddenly just martially super capable. That's when I became suspicious.
okay, so you can say you've been suspicious for a while.
Yeah.
So he's like, yo, kids. Oh, by the way, so Cade joins us again. He gives some of the kids their toys. They dissolve. We have to hope that's a good thing. And so Cody's getting a little suspicious. He's like, hey, kids, do you actually want to be with Will, or do you want to, maybe, I don't know, escape him? Is he holding?
Go home.
Go home. And they're like, we want to go home. The little girl's like, but I need my oink first. And then Cade gives her oink, and she dissolves. Will is like, no, I'm from the Feywild. I'm supposed to be here. He maintains this. And then that night, Percy tries to do some spying, and it doesn't work out because Will is wily. And so he's like, rude. And so then the next day, Percy Will kind of pulls Percy aside, and he's like, yo, I kind of like you, so I'm going to show you my true form. And he's a fucking Oni. No big deal. And so Percy's like, I'll keep your secret because that's how I am. And so Will changes back. He's like, I want to be this way now. I don't want to undo what the hags did to me. Chelter and Cade have a little conversation. They hug. And Little Oak gets us to the border of Yon, baby. Oh, what's that in the air? The fucking Jabberwock. We saw that. It didn't get too close to it, though. It was eating something. Recapitated.
Well done. Beautiful.
As a reminder, I know we've gone through this once before, but I'd like to do a little bit of a clip together of where you ended last time. You stand on a path that runs between rocky crags on a mountainside. The sky is dark and full of rolling thunder clouds, and you are greeted by a howling wind. For a second, lightning splits the sky, striking nearby mountaintops and illuminating a distant pinnacle of rock that has a foreboding castle carved out of it. Around you on the peaks, you can see several what appear to be metallic sculptures, statues, towers in the shapes of astronomical signs. You can see starbursts, moons in various phases, and it seems that when the lightning struck, it hit one and then followed along the rest before dissipating out of sight.
Fascinating. What could they be up to?
Well, they're trying to keep the lightning from hitting the ground.
Oh,
Just don't make me spill too much oil. There's not a lot of those things here.
Is your oil body safe?
What?
Never mind.
You're made of metal and conductive?
I've never been in a storm before.
I
Put me in your bag!
I
I don't want to be It starts wiggling in your hand.
Maybe just help him. Yeah, just put him away. Just let him feel safe.
but I don't want to be struck by lightning either.
Hey,
Cook herring on his
the last
awful
guy
hand
we
on.
had ditched us, so this one wants to stay with us, so I say we let him.
You'll stay with us?
Got some word like clapper claw.
Mildly offended.
Just don't make me walk anywhere or carry anything or do much.
So you're just along for the
Hey,
ride.
if we meet anything rusty and hinge-like, we got it figured.
We are ready to go.
what help could he provide anyway?
Somebody has more oil, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Put him in the bag.
Oh God, there's a heart in here.
And a golden eye.
How many technically living things are now in your pockets?
You? Only 2, I think, at this point. I doubt the eye is still alive.
I don't know that.
I
Doubt.
look. The consequences would have reared their ugly heads already.
Yeah.
We still haven't found the consequences from the still beating super cold heart.
I'm gonna put my hand in there and make sure it's still beating.
It is,
Oh God.
and it is still cold.
Ah, I cool my own neck
Awful.
The
With
air.
the heart, or just with your hand that was
With-
touching the heart?
with my hand.
Okay. Just take the heart out, just dab it gently on your neck.
Just to stay cool.
The air near the border of thither is warm and thick with humidity. There seems to be only one pathway forward with mountains rising on either side, beginning to obscure your view of that castle in the distance.
How water safe is this outfit that we got from the bullywugs? Like, am I worried about rain?
I mean, they're mostly cloth and then your armor. So, what's your passive perception?
14, because I think you're 15, aren't you, Marga?
Yeah, 16.
One. So 15 then.
So, those of you with a passive perception of 13 or higher can see that at the tops of the peaks, there is already rain happening kind of all around as the sky is completely blocked out by these gray, ominous clouds. And even when the lightning is not striking, there is still flashes within the clouds itself that illuminate pieces of the sky briefly and then fade.
And you said that the path around us is like stone, or we're in a wooded area?
Stone.
Stone.
Not
Okay.
a plant to be seen where you are right
Okay.
now.
Is it possible? Can we make reference to that at all on the big map, or?
As far as where you are on this map,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be easier actually if we go back to.
Oh, he said last time he wouldn't show us where we are.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Never mind, because we haven't explored yon yet.
lost.
We are over yon.
I thought you were saying, can you show us on the big map where there are no plants? And I was like, what are you asking for?
You know,
I grew up
I
in
mean,
the
you-
forest.
you-
Many plants.
You know where you came from.
Sure. Okay.
I'm going to turn my swarm into gnats and have them crawl into my sleeves and under my jacket. just in case it starts raining.
Does Cody not like the rain?
No. Cody wears fine silks and brocades. Why would he like rain?
And you all remember having seen that the bullywugs went swimming in these clothes, and they came out wet. They just didn't mind it.
I meant more water safe in the fact, like, will it be ruined by
Based on seeing the bullywugs, it is difficult to tell because they clearly did not take good care of the clothes. So whether that was the murky pond water that ruined them, or being uncleaned for such a long amount of time, they were not the most pleasant smelling of folk.
Well, I confidently march forward.
Onward.
It's easy for Solstice, because Solstice wears so little. That's why I follow Solstice.
Clothes are a silly invention.
I mean, I don't disagree in your case.
I'm actually rather grateful for my clothes.
Me as well. But I hide the garish armor that I have to wear.
As I adjust my bow tie, my waistcoat.
Have you ever considered just getting some tailored trousers?
No, why would I?
Well, because I mean, technically everything you sit on. Never mind.
As I look at my tail.
Narrows and widens as it goes, seemingly naturally carved out of the stone. The ground itself is flat, smooth, clear of tracks. There's boulders stacked on either side, and unless you climb upwards, it seems that this may be the only way forward.
There's a sorry, it's very early for me still. Does it look like what's up there? So you said unless you climb, like, can I look to see if there is something up there?
So it's you're walking between a very narrow valley, so it's like kind of a heavily sloping cliffside on either side that kind of goes up into the clouds.
Should we do the Percy kite thing?
The what?
The Percy kite thing.
Where we tie a string
Your
to Percy?
mind is so quick.
Yeah, where we tie a string to Percy so he doesn't get lost and then send him up to look around.
I worry that higher up into the clouds or into the weather is just going to endanger him a little more.
There's pebbles that fall down from one of the sides of the thunder blast.
I don't understand. Why would he be in danger?
Lightning.
But he's not. Look, there's the little metal thingies.
You're not conductive, are you?
Yeah. Do you even wear armor?
You do have a shocking personality.
Are you all continuing to walk forward as you're
Yeah.
having this discussion?
I would say.
I think Cody stopped and then everyone else keeps moving, so he keeps going like, wait.
As you move forward, there's a bend in the path and you're having this discussion, and it opens up. And from here, you can see a good chunk of valley where there's a drop off about 100 feet in front of you that just disappears into mist, and multiple pathways leading off of this that go in different directions, so it's unclear which is which.
Yeah, well, we're definitely going to need to tie ourselves to each other.
On a high boulder in the center of this clearing, you see two figures standing on an outcrop of rock, outlined against a stormy sky. One is a slender female elf wearing a crescent moon mask, and the other is a 3-foot-tall dandelion with a small rapier strapped to its stem. A honeybee the size of an orange buzzes around the dandelion's bright yellow head. The elf is the first to notice you, and as she points in your direction, the dandelion draws its rapier and assumes a defensive pose. The
So
honeybee...
she's wearing a crescent moon mask?
Yes. The honeybee buzzes more loudly as it flies circles around the two of them.
I immediately drop my pants, turn around, and then cover my butt cheeks at the crescent moon mask. That's simulating an eclipse.
The rest of you see the dandelion, like, as he's ready, kind of tilt his head,
With my hat.
and the elf loses her shit. She doubles over laughing.
And I yell at her, "Take that, vile hag!"
Excuse me. Pardon him. Pardon him.
Attack, comrades! I'm indisposed!
And I very
I
loudly,
try and chuck a dart and it just kind of rolls.
very loudly to the dandelion and the elf with the very large bee. Yes, Cody, we will stay in that position. You're defending us. Thank you.
And you see the dandelion, as you call out, he regains his stance as the elf still has not been able to collect herself. And he cries out, "Announce yourselves! You are in a new land, and we do not know your face!"
Quickly, my friends. The laughter is keeping her weak. Attack! Attack! Why are you not attacking?
I promise you, if you attack, I will protect Pollinella with my life, and you will not make it out alive!
Wait, who's talking? Which one is that? Is that the bee?
I think it's the flower.
Pat you on the bottom. It's okay. Hail! Are you the Dandelion Knight? We've heard tales of your bravery.
And your wonder.
We mean you no harm.
From who?
What was that guy's name?
Talavar? The dragon. Talavar.
Oh no, I thought it was
Televar, tell us.
Okay.
We metting and we've never heard of a dandelion knight before.
Oh, me.
Can I do a history check?
I'm an asshole.
It's okay. That I think we've talked about him enough because we all love the idea of a flower knight.
To be honest, you could turn it into a deception check. He is a dandelion and he is acting like a knight.
Sure.
Give it to me.
Not bad.
Cody will stand up using his hat to cover his front, still unsure if we are fighting or not.
Does that look like a hag?
17.
Yes, he's wearing the mask.
None of the hags wore masks.
Yes, back at the carnival, there was the frog minion, there was the pig mask, and then there was the woman with the moon face, you said.
Minion.
That's not
The elf stands up. You're from the carnival.
Shit.
Yes, we are. From
You've heard of the
Witchlight
Witchlight?
Carnival.
As she begins to walk towards you, like not having drawn any weapon.
Desperately trying to put my hands on, like, what? Hold.
Amador tried to like grab her arm to hold her back. It's not safe, my lady. I know you are capable of defending yourself, but it is not wise to rush into battle without a suitable coordinated effort.
This
My love, could
isn't
you
battle.
kneel down
As I
and
put my
cover
hands up.
my body.
How long has it been? I don't recognize any of you.
Since what?
Were you in the carnival?
Roll, those of you that were in the carnival, roll a history check.
-1. Maybe even lower. Hang on, let me double check.
11.
11.
Yeah, -1.
No, bud. No.
Kate, you were the only one that remembers that this was before even Solstice and Cody's time, that at one point there were these acrobatic twins that did a series of performances. They were doing contortions, they were doing flying through the air and tight ropes, all sorts of stuff. They had this amazing reputation, and then there's this kind of urban legend around the carnival that at one point 50 years ago maybe they vanished.
How many years ago?
50 years ago or so.
Oh, way before we joined.
With my hands still up in the air. Oh, you're one of the twins.
Wait, she's a witchlight? You're with witchlight?
It's
Yes,
Oh,
Cody. Cody.
I put
Please.
my pants back on.
Shh. As both my hand and my ear do that. You're one of the twins, right?
Yes, are Mr. Witch and Mr. Light with you? They've come to rescue us.
They did send us
they
to
sent
end the
us.
hacks.
Oh, may I? And I
Is
turn
this
to
a
the knight.
sarsaparilla moment? Is that what you're trying to say?
Sarsaparilla, yes.
Oh, you have to use the safe word. If we're going to have a safe word, you have to use it.
You're right. That is on me. And I turn to the dandelion knight. May I? Are we past this? We know we're not in combat, right?
If Gleam is beknownst to all of you, then you must be friends.
Turn my swarm into bees, just because I'm kind of excited to see a bee.
She has landed on his shoulder at this point. Unlike him, she looks about that big.
Is she like a normal sized bee, or is she still big for?
She's about the size of an orange, so like
okay.
she is
She's
probably
definitely
that big.
big.
And like yeah.
The 120.
50. This is
little stuff in.
Are you gonna show us a picture of the dandelion knight?
I definitely will.
If it includes
We get so excited.
Better.
I want this race.
I think
This should have been in Multiverse of Madness, wizards.
Starfinder.
Is there one in Starfinder?
It's called the Raxolite.
A dandelion?
It's a fun.
Oh my goodness.
What's up, buddy?
He's so cute.
I don't want to cry.
I'm trying to discern a face.
He doesn't have one.
I think eyes, like nose, and I think that's like a mouth, like mustache right
And
there.
this is who he's with as
And then
well.
what's that?
Legs
Those are
That's a
legs.
skirt.
That's a skirt.
or a loincloth.
Codpiece.
Of course, Solstice.
Not his codpiece.
A proper knight would have a codpiece.
Indeed.
Oh, look at her. So fancy.
That's so
Gleam
cool.
and glister. Glister? Yeah.
Not glimmer?
Glister.
Glister. Glister.
Because like,
So when he
something
says
is
their
glistening.
names, can we remember who they are?
When he announces that it is Gleam, there is that faint memory of the legend of the disappeared acrobats.
Oh my god, those ones from the old days. Like, I think they disappeared like 50 years ago.
What? And she looks like the same age as the rest of you. It's hard to tell with elves, but not
Yes, but
clearly.
but a small amount of time to announce such as yourself.
I didn't even think it'd been a year.
Oh, it's been more than a year.
What brought you to Yon?
My sister and I, were.
Takes your sister.
This is a dandelion.
Things are weird.
That's
Very fair.
Then
No, my sister is with the
I point
hag.
to the bee. It's your sister.
And Amador protectively holds Polynella. This is my queen.
This is my king.
I sensed the air of romance beneath the thunderous cacophony in which we stand.
I put my hand on Jildra, and this is my Jildra.
Is that a royal title from...
No, he isn't ready to admit that he loves her. I say in Sylvan.
Carefully brings up Polynella to the air as he bows. Well, Lady Jeltra of...
Oh shit, where did I say I was from?
Silverine?
Silvermoon? No.
Rockleman, you gotta stop with the bee flower
Moonwood?
stuff.
We're from.
Yes.
So were you from that same forest,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Lady Jeltra from... And he looks up.
The
The marvelous Moonwood.
Moonwood,
The marvelous Moonwoods.
which kind of fits in with your mask, and I will point out to
It seems that he doesn't touch the bee, but he just holds a hand over protectively, that we all perhaps have a collective mission of honor.
It appears so.
Lifts up his hand and Polynella goes back to buzzing
We are
peacefully.
very distinctly here to kill the hags
Yes.
as dishonorably as possible.
Well, perhaps we...
I mean, if I could kill them in their sleep, I would 100%. I just want to make that clear.
Well, he seems to be at a loss for words for a moment as Gleam puts a hand on his shoulder. I think we are at a like mind.
They poisonable? Can we poison hags?
Oh,
Because
well, you saw the first one's house.
I'm just saying, they've invited us to tea on several occasions. Maybe we should just do the tea and poison them. Where can we get poison?
They both look at each other.
I have alchemist fire.
You understand?
You will. We apologize for Cody. You learn to embrace it at some point down the line.
The sarsaparilla was wavered because they talked to me directly.
Whereas Jildra is just enthralled with the bee, and so she's just watching Polynella kind of fly around.
All of my swarm is kind of jealous and trying to get your attention by flying in shapes.
One thing you notice kind of as you're watching the bee and Polynella flits between Amador and Gleam as he goes with your passive perception and the thunder striking still occurring. Gleam has no shadow.
Okay.
I have a pre-existing mission, which is ongoing, and I may need assistance on. But I believe the answer to all of this.
I'm not sure who you're looking at.
He's looking at, the flower head kind of moves between each of you. But I believe the answer to all of this is within the Palace of Heart's Desire.
Sounds pleasant.
Is that the big one over that way?
No, that's what I call solstices, and she like slaps a fan. Oh no, I'm saying Jeltra.
It is beyond these realms, but I cannot leave until my honorable duty is done.
What would that be?
I must protect my queen.
She looks fine right now. How much more does she need to be protected?
Gleam stepping forward. They're on the run.
Oh.
Yes, our friend here.
Your forbidden love.
Well, he rescued her from a beekeeper, a sort of nasty cyclops that wanders these mountains.
Do you need help slaying the
Beekeeping
Cyclops?
cyclops.
I would not necessarily deem it necessary.
I grab him by his leafy hands, get down on one knee. If this is for the love of your queen, I will go to any lengths and abandon any quest to help you, good sir.
If we face the foul beast, I will be honored to stand by your side.
I can kill him honorably if you need me to.
Do we have to kill everything?
I think perhaps
No.
we have different
Just
definitions.
happens.
No, mine is, I read it in a book once. Honor is like, you don't stab people in the back, and you don't poison them, and you definitely don't poop in their shoes.
I have never done any of those things, and I am very honorable, so perhaps that isn't an unfair definition.
Without me, this bumbling band of buffoons would have died long.
Long ago.
I hope you see where the truth lies in that.
I don't.
Hey, remember the mud methods?
Do you remember the snakes?
Yeah, I also helped with that. Do you not remember my beautiful drawing that convinced them to run off
That's
together?
true. I'd forgotten
It's one
about
of
the
these like
drawing.
uncomfortable truths that Cody has through his idiocy been very helpful. So he thinks he is very intelligent.
No, that's
at this
right.
point.
If you will assist me in protecting my queen and reuniting this glorious lady with what has been taken from her, then I will take you to the Palace of Heart's Desire, and we will end this once and for all.
Was he gesturing to Gleam?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't tell if he was gesturing to like reunite her being
Paulina, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I turned to Gleam. You meaning to be reunited with your twin?
Well, both my twin and she kind of gestures down at the ground, now bringing to everyone's attention that there is no shadow
A
behind
better
her.
matching pair of shoes to the outfit you're wearing?
No hurt.
Endlin separates you from your shadow as a means of control. It separates you from everybody here. Nobody will do business with you or work with you as they see a lack of shadow as a sort of curse.
Ooh.
A black mark.
I mean,
So-
is it a
Exactly.
curse?
Without your mark.
So just so we're all on the same page of the same book, we must
We're
take
in a
down
mirror,
this
not a book.
Cyclops and the Hag.
Well, we may not necessarily destroy the Cyclops, just ensure that he does not imprison my queen once more.
But kill it.
Through either violent or verbal means,
If we come across him.
if we come across.
I have not sought him out, as
Okay.
she is free. But I have no doubt that if we were to come upon him, he would seek to capture her once more.
What about the rest of her colony? I mean, a queen usually has a hive of.
He's only one dandelion. He only spread his attention so far.
No, I know.
Some people are really into monogamy. It's a thing.
I'm just saying
You shouldn't
she's not.
judge him for not dating the entire time.
I don't want him to date the entire. What I'm saying is that Polynella, Her Majesty, must be missing her hive.
I can speak from personal experience that love replaces family.
She buzzes and kind of rests on your shoulder and nuzzles into your neck.
You have been chosen.
You are not mistaken. She mayhaps have just been too grateful of her escape to recognize what she had been missing.
And how much that Cyclops needs to die. Right, my love?
I generally find them mal-tempered.
Plus, with only one eye, it's much easier to blind them.
If we can maybe shift his attention to some other kind of.
Do you not want to find a Cyclops?
I just don't like that death is the first option every time.
Yes. Thank you.
I mean, we all carry weapons. What else are they for?
Violence does take its toll on the soul.
You don't have to kill
Thank you,
things, you can just defeat them.
And I will say, as lovely as it has been to travel with you all, I've never really killed anything unless it was for food.
You killed like 3 herring gods, a spider that one.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Before that,
I mean, quite viciously.
I was in a new place, in a scary place, and I didn't know what was going to hurt me or you guys.
I just think that you are better at it than you think.
Now,
Doesn't mean
Gleam,
I like it.
where might we find the one who trapped you?
She kind of buzzes a little bit louder and calms down, and she takes off from Delta's shoulder and returns to
Wait,
Agador.
Gleam or Paulina?
Gleam.
Pollen.
Oh, Gleam.
Yeah,
Gleam.
Gleam.
I thought you said
Gleam.
Queen. I'm so sorry. Gleam.
And nuns.
Repeat once more, please.
Now, Gleam, where might we find the one who trapped you?
Or your shadow?
Or your
Well,
shadow?
I mean, I'm as free as I can be, but she still has my sister. She's, in Motherhorn. We were both kept there as guests, which meant that no direct harm could be done to us based on the laws of hospitality to which this land sticks very closely.
That's good to know.
But it is heavily fortified. I fear we may not be able to take it without assistance.
Oh, I've never met a crack I couldn't slip into.
Perhaps we can gather more of the community members. You must have allies.
Well, there are
Prestige.
folk that live in this land of varying loyalties. Oh, we're going to start a revolution.
Do you all smell that? I smell a coup.
You guys,
I smell rain.
A figurative coup.
Oh,
do you guys have like a map of Yon? So we can like, you know,
Yes, what direction are
Reference
we supposed
where
to
we're
go?
going?
I don't even know where we are. That's a very good point,
Oh.
Percy.
you are in need of a guide.
That would help too.
That would help.
Keep your eyes open wide, for while Amador is at your side, you will do naught but smoothly glide.
Well, I appreciate that greatly.
That was lovely. Very lovely. Thank you.
Let me know when you're
I
going to
think it's
get
interesting that you use the term eyes.
Well, you all have eyes.
No, I agree. How do you see? Do you perceive the world in like sense, or I've never been able to talk to a plant before.
It would be nigh impossible to explain in the lack of senses that unfortunately mammals hold within their brain. I perceive what is. Teach me.
That, I think that would be highly dangerous.
Teach me.
Yes, you must lose all other senses first.
okay.
No.
And perhaps
Person's like, I'll help.
kind of moving his leaves around, work on chlorophyll. It's not the best climate for it to grow the string of us.
I mean, my coat is
Strong
filled
ones.
with color.
Yes, but your limbs.
Tattoos? Tattoos are the secret?
He looks down at his hands and looks back up at you. I'm beginning to understand.
Understand
Yes.
what?
Taxing.
People are always saying those kind of statements that are pregnant with meaning, and then you guys never explain them.
You're so smart. You should be able to figure it out on your own.
I just think that you guys are just talking nonsense as he starts walking.
Is he going the wrong way? Deltra wants to know.
That is a dead end.
Oh,
The tattoos, or
No, that pathway.
how can it be a dead end? We're outside.
If you follow it around, it will.
It's not working.
I turn the corner. Guys, there's a wall we can't get past over here.
Oh no! You don't say.
There should be a phrase for something like that.
Yes. Like
Let's use
cul-de-sac.
dead end.
Like a dead end?
No, because that's when you're in an underground place at the dead end. So it should be like a dead open.
Is it open back there?
No, it's definitely not.
did
So
the
it
path end?
ends.
There is definitely no continuation of path. Yes.
Okay.
William will step forward.
I've made a mistake.
There,
So
I immediately charmed her with my butt.
He's thinking that. Yeah.
there are several factions here that could be of service. We have not had, well, much of the opportunity to see what strength we could garner. But the Koreds are not fans of, well,
The hag?
yes.
Okay.
And
Good start.
Oh,
Neither
have you seen
are-
a frog lady?
Cody,
no,
let her finish.
Yeah, just let her talk.
We almost killed her twice.
Yes,
I know.
but let her talk.
What she may have said would lead up to that.
I
Let's get down to the
have
bigots.
not seen a frog lady. But we have not been in the palace in quite some time. That's not to say one would not have arrived.
It's okay. Continue with what you were saying. I've been sassed.
Shoot, I lost where I was trying to find the thing. It's not your guys' fault. I just,
Don't be so mad at Alina. I didn't do anything.
We know.
Alina loves my antics.
the Koreds are very distraught with the existence of Creeping Lynn, we'll say. I would think they are good allies. Most of the goblin folk here are not loyal, but only under her control out of fear. If you find many beyond that, they're likely to be hers. I would watch out for disconnected shadows, especially.
They do her bidding. Foul.
So if somebody doesn't have their shadow, it is assumed that they are in league with her.
Their shadow is.
Their shadow.
If they don't have their shadow, that means they're probably a victim of her.
Yes, at least in my case, I would assume it's similar.
Cody,
How do we tell the victims from the minions?
we literally just...
A
If they
shadow?
don't have shadows, then they're a victim.
But she also said we can't trust people who don't have shadows.
That's what they want you to think.
The folk of the Bay will not trust us or do business with us.
Because their shadow has been taken.
But if we trust those who, quote unquote, cannot be trusted, then we found our allies.
That may actually get us into where we need to go if we say we trust those you don't trust. Because if you trust the untrustworthy, they will trust you.
And the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Here, here.
I'm going to write that down.
You can have that one. While he's occupied, where might we find the untrustables? Not in the freezer section.
Well, Gleam here is the first I've met without a shadow. I think that most of them have become, for lack of a better word, loners.
Outcasts.
Yes, beyond community, beyond helping. Though we are going.
And we will, I say to Gleam.
She smiles and bows her head. I have not had much dealing with the Horreds, but from what I have gathered, they are an honorable people with only two great enemies. The folk that live below, and the hag.
What folk
Like-
live below again?
The Dame of Unhappy Endings, and her minions in the mines.
Luckily, we are not from below.
At least that is how the Korax have said it.
Okay. Cody, you look like you have something to say.
This is the coolest place we've been. The
This does. This is pretty.
Queen of Unhappiness? What?
I take it this is Rio speaking.
No, it's
Yes.
Cody.
Oh,
I mean,
Cody's
Cody was a boy raised on adventure stories who ran away with a unicorn to join a magic carnival to see magical worlds. Like,
This
this is his shit, man.
This is the best year we ever fell through.
If we can free my sister, we would love to go back to the carnival.
And we would love to have you back. Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine?
We let Star. Oh, you wouldn't know Star.
Yeah, he was little. Do you know maybe his father?
Who? What's the name of the monkey? Buttons.
No,
What's
the,
his name?
What
the,
was his name though?
the baboon with the buttons.
21
Yeah.
episodes
Oh,
ago.
shit.
I don't.
Hold on, here's my
Wasn't
button.
it buttons?
His
Where's my
name
notes?
was. As a DM, I very much definitely remember this. As
Of course
I
you
remember
do.
absolutely everything that's happened in the entirety of
Coulter's
this game.
furiously scrolling up.
Take me to the witchlight hands. Where the fuck did it go? Where the fuck is buttons?
Gleam, do you remember an incessant baboon who had a thing for buttons?
Ernest?
Ernest.
Ernest.
You found
No way.
He was not a baboon when last I saw him.
What do you mean? He's
What?
most definitely a baboon.
Very hairy halfling fellow.
Oh,
I think we have.
Was he a baboon? Like Cody's like checking his
memory.
prejudice. He was a baboon, right?
I believe he was. I don't think
was
we
that
owe him that much of an apology.
The scent of baboon was strong.
Okay.
That's a question we'll have to get to later, but you do remember the fellow.
Of course, yes. Ernest was a staple. He ran the. Yes. Had a little. Oh. He did have a pet monkey.
Monkey or ape? Because baboons are technically.
They were fused together?
I
Did his pet
Fortunately, not
produce
aware of the
something?
difference, but I believed a monkey.
Did it have a big blue butt?
No.
Did it have a tail?
Yes.
Then it was a monkey.
We might have to have an uncomfortable conversation
Ernest?
when we get back.
Was a monkey wearing a cloak, and he used his tail to help run the Calliope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Bad.
Can I see the one that
I'm so
with the
sorry. A
button?
goblin. He was. This place has made things very difficult.
oh no.
I think we need to be moving along.
In 50 years, we'll
And all-
muddle anyone's
You
memory.
remember that when, like, those of you that were running into him at the carnival, he had a goblin that seemed very out of its mind that would rattle a cup at people to
Yes.
collect the buttons.
Oh, God.
Out of its mind.
So they can swim.
Well, all of that to say, there might still be a few faces at the carnival, you know.
Definitely Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
Definitely Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
I think I'll have a few words for both of them at the end of this.
Understandable.
Of praise.
Well, unfortunately, they have been stealing from the staff for who knows how long.
Wait, what?
And apparently, if they didn't, they sent you to rescue us.
Yes.
50 years later.
But I think it was a convenient way to lose us.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Mr. Witch and Mr. Light sent us on a noble quest to go and save missing people.
On surface level, yes.
But haven't they also been working with the hag and selling them, the hags, the things they've been stealing from patrons?
What does he figure that out? Mr. Witch and Mr. Light are saints.
We've been
They took us
finding-
in.
we've
They
been
gave us a home for the last 18 years.
We've been finding our lost items all throughout this land.
Oh,
How did they get here?
Well, because the little witch minions, the little hag minions have been sneaking
That
into the
have been
carnival. and stealing
allowed
them.
to run rampant with free of consequence and free of fear.
Yeah, I find it weird that like two guys who run a carnival that can like travel the plains are letting like
They have a
some
lot to pay
hag-
attention to.
This makes Hurley make a lot more sense.
Hurley?
Bugbear fellow. He came
Yes.
shortly after we did. Well, I thought shortly.
No, he just left. He's only been missing about a month.
Well, he arrived a few weeks after my sister and I.
His brother Burley has been worried sick. I'm here looking for him.
He's worried sick to return to Hurley. He's, well, performing here.
Oh,
What do you mean?
Jildra, I just had a horrifying thought.
what's that?
What if the passage of time is differently back at the carnival than it is here?
I think you're right.
It's okay. Most of the people I love are already here.
That was comforting, actually. Thank you.
He's
Most of the people that I love are already dead.
apparently, I will discover a similar fate upon return.
But you'll do so with your sister.
And for you, Cade, if they died, wouldn't you know?
Not immediately. Not until they make themselves known.
Nickade can sense the spirits of his ancestors.
Or has schizophrenia. We're not sure which.
All right.
I like to think he can sense the spirit.
Yes, we give our friends the benefit of a doubt.
Yes, exactly.
If you
It's the
could,
spirits of the dead. Really, it's just the ancestors that are the most loud.
Ah,
I mean, if you can get
Apologies.
further than the two of us have been able to get alone, then I'm willing to give you
How
the
far
benefit
have
of
you
the doubt
got?
as well. I mean, we've gathered information. The two of us only met days ago now. And I have pledged myself to Hoplite.
I don't understand. You've been gone for 50 years. How has it only been a few days?
I think what
I-
Nickade said is right.
Don't know a better way to explain this.
I'm just gonna lean against Solstice and like pick at my fingernails. I'm just like,
Hurley entirely forgotten. Like,
no, I still want to say Hurley, but
well, she was in the middle of trying to tell you about it.
he gets distracted easily.
He performs in her morbid little theater, Bitter End. He, as you know, obviously used to work for the carnival as well, and, well, apparently came after we were already gone, but I'm unsure of how to help him escape. Things are dicey once you get into Motherhorn. There's also a prince who might be of service, trapped inside as well, and he's been looking for a way home. So perhaps that might be our ticket out of here.
Okay, so we rally allies, then we sneak into the fortress,
Kill the Cyclops.
liberate. If we encounter the Cyclops, we deal with that. Then we liberate those inside the fortress who can help us,
Save Hurley.
and then that is saving Hurley. And then we face the foe, liberate everybody as we eliminate the foe, and then prosper back to the carnival somehow.
You didn't list killing the hag.
A mighty story.
Garthos is the prince's name. He, I think, will be, well, our way home.
Sounds like a dragon. We fire you down.
Well, the only dragon I have met is the Honorable Sir Talavar.
We know
He
him.
did not breathe fire.
No, he kind of breathes the best.
He had a razor wit.
Yes.
And he was stuck in a cage.
He is a fantastic drinking buddy.
Oh. We have a plan. Shall we stave off?
I'm ready.
Tell me where you want to go first, and I will lead the way.
Well,
To make allies, right?
yeah, like what places can we go?
Where do we find the interest?
The Corex generally can be found at the Henge, a marvelous piece of architecture built on the precipice overlooking the depths beyond.
And they made little animals out of it?
More structural.
Yeah, it's like the little plant
shapes.
maze with all like the
Stone.
little topiary.
Henge.
Not hedge. You're thinking a hedge maze?
Is it the same as a hen?
The prince is at
No.
the Fey beacons,
No, it's not.
last Gleam saw, trying to figure out how to alight them. And of course the hag.
The
Is it
Fey
a home?
beacons.
He believed they were the only way out of here, with the world cut off as it is. Unless somebody can bring back Sibilna.
What are the Fey beacons?
Oh, we would love to bring back some.
I've heard that name quite often.
The hags bicker about her, but all I know is that they've taken, apparently, this whole land from her.
That
Tree
would
lands.
that would make
All of
sense.
it was
It's
one.
all topsy
They'd use an oil can to get through.
Apparently, prior you could just walk between them. There was great highways connecting them, and you could travel at will. There was apparently an inn that had feet of its own that would go.
Oh,
We know her.
Yeah.
That's
No,
a.
she still roams.
He was lovely.
Judger made soup with her.
Very nice kitchens.
Well, if we can fix
Very thin
this,
walls.
maybe she can come back
Very light sleeper.
here.
We would love to fix it all. Bring Sibilna back. Restore this realm.
So we go to the hedge, and then we
Henge.
take flint and tinder to the guy trying to light some fires. And then we help the Cloroxes.
Well,
What's
no, we,
Clorox?
He kept saying that word.
we meet
Cordons.
the Corex at the Henge.
What are those, by the way?
It's a group of people.
Stout fey creatures. Hair strong as iron.
Dwarves.
Are they dwarves?
Fey dwarves.
I believe they're Correds.
Out of curiosity, how do you spell that? Simply.
Korreds. Correds.
Coreds. Okay.
Horreds. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like we have direction.
All right.
Fantastic.
So, if this world is anything like the last two we went to, we just need to wander until we find one of these things.
Well, if you're going
Hi.
to the henge,
Yes.
it's to the left.
We're going to the henge.
If you want Motherhorn, it's straight, and then a right, and then a left, and then a right, and then a left, and then a right, and a right. And if you want the Fey beacons, straight, right, left, right, right, left, right.
Are you telling me that these worlds make sense?
They don't move around.
All the others moved around.
You wander long enough, you learn the lay of the land.
Explain to him how everything moves around.
Just ignore him. It's fine.
To the henge to go. We go.
To be fair, the tree moved. The hill moved.
Middle oak?
Okay, two things out of the entire world.
Lovely fellow.
Yeah, it's kind of like youngling, that one.
Everyone's told us how. Remember, we were talking to the will-o-wisps in the geyser, and they kept pointing in every direction because there's no way of knowing which direction things are.
Perhaps you're just not tuned to the land. What I recommend is putting roots into the soil.
Take my boots off.
Feeling the energy.
It's on stone. Right.
I'm still digging those toes in.
Scrape. So you want to go to the henge first?
Yes, to gather allies.
Did we not help the Cloroxes first?
That's where we will find them.
Oh.
Well, we
Now
must.
put your shoes back on, Cody. We're going for a walk.
I need to attune with the world.
You can attune when we get there.
Do your socks match? I'm proud of you.
They don't match anything else
Absolutely
I'm wearing.
Well, then
Why would you wear matching socks? Fashion faux pas. They sell them in pairs so you can make multiple outfits.
We best be on our way before this storm decides to settle any lower.
Yes, we must. And I'll pull out the lute and just start playing a light tune as we walk.
Oh,
The bumblebee seems to enjoy it as she kind of goes between Amador and you, making little figure eights, occasionally settling on top of your lute as you're playing, buzzing along to the rhythm.
I'll join you with my violin.
buzzing along.
Can you play violin?
Buzzing along.
I'm proficient. I have a performance of +5. Remember when we did the in the first area we did like a little jam session?
Right.
Nice.
Yes.
Because with her flute, my
I was
violin.
just
Yeah.
about to say, my grandma flute. But I don't know if we. Dandelion, sir, should we maybe not announce our presence?
In the thunderstorm.
I think
That's
so.
a good point.
We are rather far away. If you hear the footfalls of those who we must face, then I recommend ceasing. But beyond, we are quite far from other. How do you hear? My ears. You have ears? Yes, and he pulls,
Don't you?
leaves to like circle his head.
That's not what ears look like.
That's not what your ears look
That's
like.
not what your ears look like.
He turns to Gleam. You mammals are so small-minded.
Am I?
I assumed a son.
I stop playing and I just mute the strings. You are a mammalian. And I keep playing.
As you cross around this path that leads on the side of a mountain with a sheer drop off into mist below on one side, it eventually curls almost in a circle until you're back in a valley. A good 10 or 15 minutes into walking this way, there is a space in the mountain itself that is carved out as this indentation, creating an ornate frame, at the base of which sits a stone throne hewn from a boulder and etched with astronomical symbols. Well, that wasn't here before.
What? So it did move?
I perhaps
I
didn't,
pointed the dandelion.
perhaps didn't notice it.
What is this place?
Well, the path does continue on beyond this, and it seems as if like the stone around it is almost thrumming.
Should I touch it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, but you're the one who tells us if things are magic or not.
There is clearly an inscription engraved into the backing of the throne.
What language?
Genji.
In Elvish.
I actually speak Elvish.
Does Gleam notice it, or does she seem different?
Can I read it out loud?
Sure. Yes, she looks at it as well, but doesn't get too close. It reads, I am a traveler from a distant land. My name is Mazikoth, keeper of stars. Sit on my throne, disciple, and unravel.
Okay.
Are you sitting?
Well, I have to walk around it to sit.
Okay.
I'm walking around it.
Oh, God. What are you doing?
I read it out loud.
I know.
Yeah. Sit in that.
Is everyone ready for Cody to be unraveled?
Oh, gosh.
I didn't know he was raveled in the first place, so.
Detect magic? There's an aura of divination magic around the throne.
Is Cody the right person to... Nation magic.
Let's put it this way. If anyone in the party has to die horribly...
Are you sitting on it?
Well, I'm waiting.
I
What do we...
play some dramatic backing music.
Should I?
Would I have any chance of having any kind of history on Mazikon?
You can make an Arcana or History check.
Make one too.
No. 4. So
Zero.
good.
8?
Nope, none of you have any idea who or what Mazikoth is.
Wait, let me try.
Everybody's just like, what?
Like, I have no reason. I would have no reason to
Well, roll it just to see if you
Maybe-
would've gotten it.
Maybe I heard some stories back at the carnival.
I feel like
19?
15?
Jeltra. The name came up in your education between Granny and your mother, with your evenings where they discuss the natural sciences and how to, read roots, leaf patterns, the changing of the seasons, and reading the stars themselves to determine the goings on of the natural world. Mazikoff was an elf, celebrated as an astronomer, who claimed to hail from a black star at the edge of night.
Wait. What name did you say that was?
Mazikov? And I turned to the throne. Right, Mazikov?
I think Granny told me about, that sounds at least familiar, about the same name. And I'll reiterate the majority of what you said. Astronomer, reading things, said he was from a black hole,
Black hole or black star?
black star, whatever it was.
Well, he
Marker.
sounds super friendly.
And so how would he have come to the Feywild?
And
Seems
been
to
turned
be-
into a throne.
Yes, he's
I don't know if he is the throne. I think it may have been a throne for. But that's true. Fair. This place is strange.
Hello? Should I sit?
yeah.
I will sit on the throne.
Immediately, you begin to feel cold and drowsy.
Are you getting anything?
I am chilly, and I could take a nap.
That doesn't sound out of the ordinary. I don't think anything's happening.
Yeah.
It is particularly cold.
Does he look any different? No.
Well, I guess that wasn't helpful. Let's move
Hop
on.
up.
Okay.
That's it.
And we move along.
Percy, am I okay?
Detect magic would still be up.
You can see that the divination magic had begun to weave its way around him, and as soon as he stands up, it begins to unweave and return back. It's like it began its way up his legs, and then as soon as he stood, it receded into the throne.
I think you're okay. Just don't set it again.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know something about him. Maybe that would help.
It's
You
up-
want to feel cold and
It's up to
sleepy?
you.
I don't know. I mean, we could try it.
Gleam, do you know anything about this?
Nothing
You ever
I can think of.
seen this before?
As far as I knew, this path was fairly barren until we reached the henge.
Can you cast that other spell that you know that just tells you what stuff is? I don't mind waiting.
I was gonna say, can we take a 10-minute rest to take 10 minutes to do it?
Up to you.
Identify.
Perimeter. Keeping a watch. While you're doing that, Jeltra kind of wants to just go sit down. Okay.
Do you do
If
it?
Judger wants to do it, let her do it.
Do you do it?
I'll keep a lookout for you, I guess.
You want to do it together?
I feel like if Granny told me something about him, then it was important.
Could not both fit in it together.
Just let her sit in the chair.
I will go sit in
I'm
here.
just saying, I'll be drowsy. Nothing will happen.
You immediately
Sorry.
feel that
Breathe.
chill
Oh,
as your shoulders kind of
Cold.
slump. And that same feeling of
Yeah.
fatigue that Cody was feeling earlier begin to fall over you. Have you? And I'm sorry, I should have seen this when you were still looking at detect magic with Cody. But do you still have that up, or you're beginning to cast identify?
If she said she was going to, well, did I start to cast it and you said
Because you said you were thinking about it, but I don't know if you actually said it to anybody.
What is the timeline of events?
okay.
Yes.
So I would have approached the chair as you guys were talking about casting Identify. And so I was looking at it. I don't know if I probably would have said something before you started casting it to the effect of like, well, if Granny Granny was telling me something about Mazakoth.
So she waits for you to get all of your ritual supplies out.
Yeah, so you're set up. You're ready to go. You don't start yet. Yeah.
Right. And I would think I probably still have detect magic up.
You can see it beginning at her feet as that divination magic kind of winds its way very slowly up her body.
I think you should get up, Jotra.
How compelled do I feel to get up, or is there any kind of compunction for me to stay seated?
Just the cold and drowsiness. Nothing keeps you seated. Nothing makes you feel the need to stand. It's all your own volition. Same kind of thing with Cody. At this point, you've been sitting there about the same time that he had, and it's just that the feeling of cold and the feeling of that malaise is growing, but nothing pins you to the chair.
Is it uncomfortable?
No.
No. I did.
Jotra, are you okay?
Yeah.
That's a very comfortable chair.
I mean, it's cold. It's like shawl.
Hand you your shawl.
You've stayed seated.
I'm staying seated. I'm gonna stay seated for a little bit.
As you all watch, Jeltra slumps forward, almost half folding on herself, not completely over, but limp in the chair.
I take my lute and I kind of like poke her with it.
Jeltra, you see stars hurtling past you as if you are being thrown at extreme speed through the vacuum of space. Glimpses of nebula, planets, explosions all come into and out of your vision as it fades forward, beginning finally, after what feels like a lifetime, to slow and come into focus as a mapping of unfamiliar stars fills the forefront of your vision with a void. Vacuum of black directly in front of you that is taking up more and more what you can see. Getting closer to it, you can begin to see the outline of a terrain, of something that could be stood upon, excavated, lived on. And as you are so close that you could reach out and touch the cold surface, that's where we'll take a break. All right, to the rest of you, she has gone into a trance.
Oh, look, she fell asleep.
Jotra! Okay, I'm gonna cast identify using spell slot. Now I'm gonna touch her.
I'm sorry. This is spell slot.
So that would negate detect magic. And
As detect magic fades, it was all the way covering her. These like tendrils of divination waving up her body all up to her head and connecting back to the top of the throne.
Takes a minute.
so I'm still in the midst of casting it. So
As you go through the process of casting it, you get the title Mazakoth's Throne. Nothing else.
fantastic.
If you examine her, her eyes are open. They're glazed over.
I'm like, oh, open.
I hope she's okay.
I mean,
Did we remove her from the
I
throne?
don't think so.
I'm sure she's fine. If she was in danger, she would turn into an animal of some kind.
Is there anything as I like look around the perimeter and any other clues or
You can see.
investigate?
Go ahead and investigate. Yeah.
Oh, wow, my eyes are getting dry.
Okay, 19.
Going over to where this depth has taken place in the stone, you can see dust around the edges of where the design begins, as if this came into existence recently. With how much things rain here and how much you've seen that happen, that should be washed away if it's here for any amount of time. It seems that it manifested.
I wonder if this Mazakoth has some sort of connection to the hags and they've given him safe haven here. I'm going to monitor her heart rate, I suppose.
And I do an Arcana check to see if I know any other spells or anything that does something similar to this.
Yes. And with your 19, as you go to monitor her, are we getting closer to her body and like, kind of like seeing these like very minor twitches and things? You can see in her eyes, their reflection is not of the world around them. You can see bright shapes kind of like moving across at great speed as if she's looking at something that is not here.
Fascinating. I think she's been transported somewhere else. Her eyes reflect scenes from a different place.
21.
With that, there seems to be some sort of transfer of power occurring.
Like into her or from her? Okay.
You think it feels, from the way that you saw the tendrils when you were still detecting magic, they were going into her. It's not entirely clear.
Don't hate me.
So, or,
Deduction wise, it seems like it's putting something on her, not taking something away from her. This goes on for about an hour. Jeltra is unawakenable. You can pull her off of the throne, but the trance does not break.
Short rest then.
Go ahead.
yeah.
I'm on the ground.
You're on the throne.
Well, if you guys pulled me off, I'm saying.
I
would-
guess we're leaving Jan there.
Yeah, I would leave you on the throne because I'm
Set the egg timer.
I'm like worried if we take you off and like you have to find your way back. That like if you're not there, you're not
can't
gonna find your way back.
I will put a cricket in her mouth and make her chew it.
Swallow. Dog with pills. As the hour passes and Gleam and Amador kind of patiently sit and take their rest as well, looking at all of you in a concerned manner.
Ian
Jeltra,
Solstice asked about Amador and his queens a lot.
we are not intimately involved. I am but Her Highness's humble servant.
Oh, me too.
I am here to protect and extend Her Majesty.
Good. That is noble.
Yes.
I'd love to extend my king's majesty.
I am happy to assist with her pollination, but not with any sort of uncouth behavior. As this
Many
conversation,
flowers as possible.
As this conversation's happening, I'm just mostly paying attention to Jeltra.
and staring at her, you're the first to notice. Jeltra, in your mind, you reach out and you're about to touch the surface of this entity, and as soon as your hand would make contact, you're jolted back into the throne, into Yon, and Cade, you see her gasp and awaken.
You're back!
I'm just saying, there's a lot of non-sexual things you can do
What
that
was
still
happening?
qualify as love.
Thank you, guys.
What happened?
Oh, can I do a medicine check? Check her. Like,
Jeltra, you have a choice.
Oh my goodness.
You now have proficiency in either Arcana, Deception, History, Insight, Intimidation, or Survival.
Ooh, so many.
Arcana.
What do we need?
Deception,
Oh no.
intimidation, or
History or survival.
history or survival. I think from all of that, it would make the most sense for
Pick the one that makes the least.
Intimidation.
Yeah, I'm not very intimidating.
Snake sounds.
us.
I don't know about that. Deception would be fun. Oh gosh, this is a rough.
You can take some time to think. about it.
Okay, let me think about it.
When you're ready, you will have proficiency in one of those.
Ooh, okay.
And as you lift her off of the throne to begin to examine, make sure she's okay, the throne itself, with a great sound of turning stone gears, sinks back into the wall as the wall seems to come forward, and after a moment just leaves a flat cliff face.
Massacop, no!
Told you I hadn't seen it before. Perhaps it was the opening of a door.
Is this the state you've seen it in before, though? Flush?
He reaches out and runs a leafy palm across it. Yes. I remember a crack here, but it's nothing major.
You okay, Jotru?
I was flying through the stars. So fast.
Percy! You made me stand up!
I'm so glad you're
Are you okay?
Do I feel okay? Other than that,
Yeah.
I feel fine. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel fine. I'm just
slightly better at lying.
There's a minor ache as this new knowledge and skill just begins to settle over you.
yeah.
But it's one of those moments of like an ice cream headache where it hits and then it fades just as quickly
Okay.
as your neurons are rearranged.
I was
Magic star.
traveling through the stars. I came to a black space, and then a land appeared in front of me. And I was so close. I was so close to it. I almost touched it. And then something brought me back. Did you guys bring me back?
I fed you a cricket.
No, you seem to have come back on your own. We pulled you from the throne,
I
but
just didn't want you to get home.
That's why I feel full. Thank you. Thank you for watching out for me.
Place we've been so
That was pretty intense. Oh, my head.
Would you like me to carry you? Or shall we rest?
I think I'm okay. I think I'm all right. That
You should
was
just let Stoltz carry you. He loves to do it so much.
And are you still
Been a long time.
you're still carrying the rocking horse too, right?
Oh yeah. Mhm.
It's pretty light.
Nice.
If you wish, I can carry Eldon for a bit.
Only if you wish. I'm doing fine.
Can I even strap Eldon to my back? Is he bigger than me?
If you lay him, like if you stand him up, he's the same height as you, but he is
So I
fairly
can just kind of
light.
like lean forward.
Yeah.
I'm gonna customize. I think I'm gonna take
Percy, after me, you're gonna have to take a turn.
Arcana.
Arcana.
Nice. I like it.
Choke, Percy.
As the magic of the throne has imbued in you its own magic.
Wait. Go back. Proficiencies.
We continue on.
I'll have to look at it later.
The storm.
I just thought that same thing. I was like, how's she going to add that to her character now?
I can show you how later.
Thank you. Going back to my character sheet.
After your short rest and beginning to move once more, the cloud cover seems to almost lower. It doesn't feel as if you're raising an elevation, so it's unclear whether it's your movement or the clouds themselves. But before long,
No,
the
sign,
rain has started.
no signs of the Jabberwock. No,
Nothing
no,
yet.
No sound really.
Just
Animal sounds.
thunder.
No, just thunder. Okay.
There is an occasional like up in the clouds.
Oh.
And then you'll see as you're walking pebbles rolling down the sides of them. Then it'll go quiet once more. At one point you even hear "Meh." That
Oh, like-
seems to echo
It's not good.
between the caverns. But the pathway itself is almost nondescript in the way that this gray monotony of stone continues on either side.
Can I please roll to see if I have a garishly ugly umbrella?
Yes.
Only if you.
Where would you have been keeping this carriage?
I have a backpack.
Is it a telescopic one?
I don't know.
So it'll be a straight roll of 10 either way.
16.
Nice. You do.
Can it be like bright neon yellow? I don't even
And
know if that
silk.
would exist. Huh?
And silk.
Wouldn't that get ruined in the rain?
Yes.
Yep.
Keeps the rain off me, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can try it. it just gets saturated. So
So it starts dripping.
after some time, yeah. You can shake it, bring it back.
It's the umbrella the DM gave.
It's garish because you picked it for its beauty, not for its
It's more of a sun umbrella.
parasol.
Yeah.
Just as it begins to drip through on the inside, it takes it a bit to saturate all the way through. The rain ceases around you. The clouds maintain but seem to lift from the place where they feel as if they're just scraping the tops of your heads, as if they've rescinded back, and another bolt of lightning streaks through the sky and illuminates one of those astronomical shapes peaked atop the cliff to your left as it shoots off into the distance. The sound of bleating gets louder.
Bleating.
Yes.
I was like, bleeding?
How do you?
It's weird.
The hillways on either side seem to slope more softly from the extreme, almost vertical that you've been following for some time. And as it clears further, you see 3 giant goats hop down the path in front of you. Amador cautiously brings a hand to the hilt of his rapier as they seem to settle in the path in a triangular formation facing your party.
All right. Well, I talked to the goats. Hail, fair goats. May we pass?
She has speak plan.
The first one says to you in Elvish,
Oh, do I know Elvish?
I do.
"When the moon obstructs the sun, creeping Lynn will come undone."
Yes.
Excellent.
The second goat says, "Play to her passion, stay on script. A cat, a horn, a shadow ripped." And the third,
Someone write that down.
Looking for.
"The fool's scepter is the key." Ah.
That's it.
A lovely poem. They told us a poem.
All of them kind of stand.
Wait, can you repeat that, please?
I will walk up to them with 3 gold pieces as a tip.
They look at each other, and each of them come forward and take a single gold from your hands, and then throw their heads up, swallow it.
Interesting.
Reciprocity has been paid. Today your souls will not be laid. And the 2 goats on either side go up back into the hills, disappearing into the clouds above. The prophecies were, when the moon obstructs the sun, creeping Lynn will come undone.
Which we knew.
Play to her passions, stay on script. A cat, a horn, a shadow ripped. And the fool's scepter is the key.
The Fool's Scepter.
Wait.
Like Mr. Lights?
Cody's thing is a key?
The Fool's Scepter.
Yeah.
Oh, he's talking about my penis. I'm not a gesture, though. I'm a juggler.
I wouldn't recommend putting that in keyholes.
Has he tried to put it in keyholes before, Solstice?
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
It wouldn't fit.
As the two disappear to either side, the one in front says, "We prefer root vegetables, but your shiny stones suffice."
Can I cast Goodberry in such a way that they turn into root vegetables?
Yeah.
I will make carrots appear.
Radish.
10 of them on a bush.
It takes 3 of them into its mouth. I will distribute them among my
You
brethren.
gotta put that down, buddy.
I will distribute them among my brethren.
Anyone want a carrot?
Sure.
Yeah, it's fine.
I go
Although
to
I
put it,
do feel full.
I put it to my mouth and I go, is this a joke somehow?
No. They asked for
And
root
then I-
vegetables.
Because I'm a
Oh, because you're a rabbit. Oh.
He's a heron.
I hadn't even thought of that.
How rude.
I don't even know if we would have the cultural significance to think of you being associated with carrots, or if that's from cartoons.
Or I mean, rabbits will eat
No, but I just mean like
yeah.
like we associate rabbits with carrots, but is that because of Bugs Bunny or some deeper mythology that I just don't know?
No,
about?
it's probably because of
I think
pop
it's
culture.
I don't know.
And because they do eat carrots.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking,
Don't
like,
give them cabbage though.
like
because then
was
they
there
get
like some
really
medieval
gassy.
story about a bunny who like wants carrots a lot? That's why I'm like, Bunnicula? No, but that was after Bugs Bunny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The path clears again,
Let's see. Watch out for after.
and just beyond the goats, the clouds seem to almost create a mirror to the ground as they raise. You can see where they are above your heads and how they move. And in the opening, in the distance, you can see great stone tables, blocks, and archways on a plateau.
Oh, good.
Ah, yes. Lockberry thing. Straight ahead. Shouldn't be more than 10 minutes.
Excellent.
I elbow Cody and say, that's a henge. Henge. Not hedge.
Sure, those are ruins.
So,
I tried.
It was a lovely try.
I tried.
Continuing on to the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Wait,
ground
Percy, were you gonna say
here,
something?
it was meta, so no.
Okay.
the ground here is much wider and flatter than what you've experienced in these valleys leading up to what is clearly steps to the henge. On either side are walls of mist and cloud that you can imagine perhaps lead to drop-offs. Approaching the henge, getting closer to it, the shapes going larger in front of you where you can see how those shadows cast onto the ground. There's the sound of turning wooden wheels to one side. As in your path from out of the mist appears a wagon. It seems to move of its own volition, with a cloaked and hooded figure at its front, walking just to its side. And as you approach, it stops in your path.
Is there anything that's pulling the wagon, or is it moving seemingly on its own?
Moving on its own.
Hello.
The hooded figure turns to face you. Says nothing.
Did you lose some goats that might have been pulling your wagon? I mean, we saw them a little while.
As you ask, this wagon is painted with stormy windswept landscapes and velvet curtains that cover a portion of the front draw back.
So it's more of a carriage.
And
In my
within, you see a forest made of wood and sculpted clay that seems to be moving slightly up and down as the form of a large tree shape is puppeted across it. From one side comes in wooden clouds that obscure the entirety of the scene, come across the whole front, and as they dissipate, there stands puppets of each of you.
Cade, music.
And I start playing my lute.
As you play, the scene seems to match the tempo and rhythm of the sound you set. It follows you as these group of marionettes come across an elf and a flower with a little bee on a single string flying around the entirety of the group.
So, no.
It follows
Detail.
you as cliff shapes come in from either side, your puppets walking away from what would be the proscenium.
Can I make an insight? 'Cause this is a stretch for Cody, but we've seen puppet-related things with this particular person before, right?
This particular person?
Well, because like the lady with the fake cat, and the goats just told us play along with the show, the cat horn.
Maybe we should
Could you
let him
make it-
finish describing.
You can. I don't know what it's going to tell you, but you can.
It's okay.
Like,
We sure don't
I just
know.
don't know if I should feel in danger or not.
the cliffs come in from either side on what appears to be this proscenium as it follows your marionettes slowly bouncing when it's clearly walking away from what would be the screen. They come to the throne. Jeltra's puppet sits and then slumps over,
Were you watching us? What?
comes back up with a finger in the air as if with inspiration. You see marionettes of the goats come from one side. You see the gold exchanged between Cody and them, the carrots exchanged, and then you see a pathway open, a set piece of the henge mirroring what is in front of you in miniature. The henge itself set above in your viewpoint as this wooden henge is set below. And as all of your characters face it, a velvet curtain drops and a sign that says "To be continued" settles before it, before the curtains of this little theater come closed.
Bravo!
And I start applying.
The cowled figure walks forward toward the center of the group and holds out a robed arm with no hand to be seen, but papers extending from it. Walks up to each of you individually and hands you a ticket. On the ticket is the marionette that represented you within the scene. Solstice's muscular, vascular,
Beautiful.
scantily clad. Cody's in vibrant colors, patterns galore, incredibly detailed, even with an umbrella hanging from his hip.
The attention to detail is spectacular.
Percy with wings folded down and weights on his feet, seeming to tie him to the earth. And Cade with little wisps of wood coming out in all directions, showing the spirits speaking with you in surprising detail.
Ooh.
And Jeltra, now with stars adorning the background. And her now kind of cobbled together attire between what she came in and what was provided to her. And a spider and a wolf on each side. It reads, "Good for one private audience with Endelyn Moongrave, no strings attached."
Oh, excellent.
As you look up from reading the tickets, there is no sign of the cowl or the carriage.
Creepy.
Percy, why is whenever we get something fun like this, yours always sad?
You know, I was trapped in a cage for years, right?
What? You never mentioned that.
Percy, my God.
Is there like a stump or something nearby? Or like a rock like Percy can like sit on?
There are boulders.
Percy's gonna go sit on a boulder and just be like, I don't have any family. I don't remember a whole lot of stuff. I hear voices. I don't know if you've noticed, but I can't tell any directions anywhere. I was trapped in a cage for a long time, and then I came to the carnival, and here we are. That's why I'm a little angry sometimes.
I mean, that makes sense now. I just thought you were grumpy.
Oh my goodness. And I will go and try and hug Percy.
Percy like just melts and starts sobbing.
Oh, I pick you both up. Yes, it's good to get it out.
I'm like hugging your leg because Solstice is picking you up.
My leg or his? Whose leg? Percy?
Both of your legs.
That's why I don't fly, because I wasn't allowed to. And so that's why I need someone to tell me to fly. Because,
Percy,
yeah,
from now until the end of your life, you have my permission to fly.
it doesn't work that way. Thank you.
Then I turned to Cosmo. Were you also trapped in a cage?
I made him while we were here.
He knows nothing but freedom. Let us keep it that way. Except for the ball. But that's like he wants that.
That's how he gets around. It's not like a cage. It's
Yeah.
not, doesn't mean
I've never seen him outside of it, though.
he's never been outside.
So
He has
is
to have
that
it to
kind
move.
of like a cage?
That's how he moves around.
Maybe
Did
it's
you
just
made him move around on feet?
It's part of him.
So are you saying that
Are you insulting his work?
No,
sarsaparilla.
I'm just asking. I don't understand this one.
You're treading into dangerous territory where you're going to make him feel guilty for making something
Percy, how about this one? I command you to fly whenever you so please.
No.
I mean, I could try. It's just a thing where like I'm not used to it.
Okay, that
Like,
makes
It
sense.
takes
Maybe
practice.
we'll get there. But like,
Practice.
Okay.
You've been getting better since we started our
So,
adventure.
so that's what the weights on your feet are. Oh.
Yes, if you're having weights in your shoes, you should take those out.
there's not.
I think it's
That's a good idea, Cody. Thank you.
It's in
I'm gonna
line.
take my boots off and pretend to dump them out.
I'm not paying attention anymore, but I'm like,
That was a good idea. Yeah.
I've helped another.
He's got the like arm things. Yeah.
So what if the person that kept you?
Clues
Do we
died.
need-
I don't know what happened to him.
How did you escape?
Do I know her name?
No.
Okay. But I've seen her like in the picture, right?
In Jelto's picture.
Yeah. So some like lady came and like opened my cage for me. And it was the lady that was in your picture.
Jelto's grandmother?
Granny.
Yeah.
Wow,
I-
Granny really has been around.
Yeah, she gets around apparently.
I didn't.
Yeah.
You guys are both from Faerun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's less confusing.
I-
But why did your granny save you?
Mm,
And she was an old woman.
doesn't mean that she's not powerful.
You just never said that granny was powerful.
Did she ever go missing for days at a time?
I mean, she never lived with us. She came to visit.
Ah,
She would come and see us, once or twice a month and stay with a couple of days. And
You know who I haven't thought about for a while? That gnome who knew all of our names and sent us tickets. Remember back in the cupcake pavilion?
Huh?
Okay, so
I did.
both you and Jeltra received tickets to the Witchlight Carnival, right?
Yeah.
yes,
They were at the door, right? And you both know your grandmother. And me, Solstice, and Cade were all already at the Witchlight Carnival. I just feel like maybe your grandmother set all this up somehow.
but I haven't seen Granny in years. It's
How
been a long time
Many years.
since Mother died. She came by once, and then I hadn't heard from her in a very long time.
But you must admit that it is a strange coincidence that the two of you from complete opposite ends of the world both know the same old woman.
I mean, I don't know her. She's in my cage and she left.
But isn't that even odder?
Well, yeah, but like,
Where?
what? We can't do anything about it right now. It doesn't mean anything right now.
But I just feel like we don't talk about stuff.
No, I think
Maybe Jiltra's grandma was just a savior of the beaten and the damned.
I prefer downtrodden to damned.
A savior nonetheless. Maybe Granny was even better than you remember. Or that you've described.
Well, when I was a young girl, my mother took me into the city to see a marching band.
I've got it. Mr. Witch disguised himself as your grandmother to make sure you were in the right place at the right time to
I
send us
don't
on this
know
quest.
about that.
It makes perfect sense. He's always using shapeshifting magic.
You know, sometimes when you worship something, it becomes a bad thing.
Shit, Mr. Witch and Mr. Light.
Mr. Witch
'cause
and
they're
Mr. Light are
awful.
evil.
They are not evil. What gave you the impression that they are evil?
Because you worship them so much.
I don't worship them.
Think that we have learned one thing for sure, and that is that we know very little. So we should all go into this all with an open mind, and it is suspicious. Mr. Light and Mr. Witch are a bit suspicious. So.
My love, they saved our lives and kept us safe.
And that does not mean that they might not also be conspiring with some very evil people. We are very handsome. It's hard to say no to us.
Is it?
Well, if you're the right kind of person.
You're the right kind of Percy.
As you begin to approach the plateau itself, in your mind's eye, Percy, there's visions of that night. A wizened old woman in grand robes, pearlescent white, seeming almost shining in the darkness. She kneels before the cage, smiles, hands you a ring of keys. And as you take them, that feeling that everything within you has been restored, as if she healed you and broke some bond, disappearing almost as quickly and leaving you the means to set yourself free. Jiltra, at your mother's funeral, Granny, in her homemade sackcloth robes, a cord of herbs and vines tying them together with a pouch on the side that you know contained what she used for healing, her cowl brought down around her neck so that you could see her flowing white hair as she wraps an arm around you to comfort you. Lightning strikes once more, bringing you out of these reveries. As atop a boulder-strewn plateau stands a circle of 8 megaliths. In the center of this henge, a small checkered game board with stone playing pieces rests on the ground near the dying embers of a campfire.
Can we determine how long the campfire's been out?
You can approach, yeah.
Survival?
Sure.
Can I assist?
You have survival already? Like, do you have more than a 0?
I have a 3.
Then I'll try to assist.
Okay.
You have a
Each
more
of
than a 0?
Each of these megaliths is about 20 feet tall, and you can see getting into the circle that they're hewn from several different kinds of stone.
A 17.
It appears that somebody tried to kick dirt over it, but with the dirt that is here, they weren't terribly successful, and that's why the embers are not out. So it'd be relatively recent.
Someone tried to cover this up not too long
I'd
ago.
like to spread my swarm out, just kind of be on watch.
Sure.
So basically, like, super active perception? Super passive perception? I don't know.
Percepting.
You can see The checkerboard itself has several little forms on it. One half of the board has shapes made of shale, and the other half made of chalk. There are creatures of varying sizes that all seem to be of the same species laid out about this board. Each of them is cloven-hoofed and covered in fur carved into the stone itself.
Fascinating.
Does anyone have the dragon chess?
What?
Does anyone have dragon chess proficiency?
You got a 17 on that check?
17 on survival.
You also see, as you're examining the campfire, two small steps of hoofprints leading way and up to two of the megaliths.
Something, whatever it was here, went that way. Do you see? And whoever's close to me, I'll point out the hoof prints on the ground.
Thomas and Cosmo to follow the tracks.
They don't go far. They just lead up to
One of them on
two stones in like different directions.
Can I climb one of the stones?
Sure.
As soon as you touch the stone.
Athletics?
I think the two of you kind of like following it and like noticing it realize that one set leads to what appears to be a chalk pillar, and the other leads to what appears to be a shale pillar.
Uh-oh.
I just want to climb something near me, not one of those.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to use my inspiration because I feel like we're going to end soon. But that's... 28.
Wow.
Athletics.
Yeah. Hop, skip, jump on top of one of the little tables.
One of the monoliths.
Yes. Yeah. Stone tables.
Oh, okay.
Archways.
Do I see anything?
Very graceful.
From here,
Was it
aside from the path that you took that leads into another, like the valley that you walked out of, it is clouds as far as the eye can see.
But there's nothing that's just like standing on top of it.
No.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't see anyone.
Do I notice on the pieces, do they look like any animal that I can recognize?
They are cloven-hoofed creatures with wild beards and hair.
So they look like goat
Goat?
prints? Got that wee cloven.
Yeah.
The creatures on the board do not look like goats. They are bipedal.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. It's like the creatures on the board, the figurines that were carved out of either the chalk or the shale.
Yeah.
They look like different animals, or they're all the same?
They're all the same. They're kind of individuals, but
Okay.
they're all the same species, clearly.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Go ahead and roll.
Chess set with goat people.
Yeah, roll an insight check.
Inside. 25.
It's clear the way this board was laying out, even though you're not totally sure of the rules of whatever this is that was being played. Slate pieces are winning. And as you examine it further, there's one move left, and the slate pieces can beat the chalk pieces. You can see a diagonal move from one of the larger slate sets. Knock out the largest piece of the chalk sets.
As I'm sitting on the monolith, I'd be like, what you looking at, Jeltra?
I think Slate's about to win. So, I mean, if you... So tempted to. But this place is weird, and the last time I touched a hat, I almost died.
I will mage hand the slate piece that she's talking about in the
So
direction she's
if you-
indicating.
If this one moves over to this piece, then it looks like they would win.
And then a
That's the
fat
hand.
bumblebee just kind of pushes that feet.
Oh, I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
As it makes contact with the chalk piece falls and turns to dust. And out of the slate and chalk pillars burst two creatures. The one from the slate cackling with joy in triumph. I knew it! They could see it! They could see it! They could see it! And the chalk creature chewing gravel as it grumbles forward, admitting its defeat. And she moves to each of you that are on the ground and shakes hands vigorously. You saw victory. It was too easy not to see. And the chalk creature still just... And that is where we'll end tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Wild Beyond the Witchlight. We had a fairly eventful evening as people discovered what happens in Yon, my favorite of the realms so far. And we appreciate you all for coming on this journey with us. We look forward to continuing and finding what other secrets Yon holds for our party. Thank you especially to Sparky, Dossiva, Daniel, Rio's mom, Alistair, Sean, Rockelman, Death's Grasp, Eric Fox, Meepo, Dream Lover, and Duke Relin.
It would have been a 4. Use my inspiration. Thank you so much.
Next time.
Next time.
And speaking of next time, we will come up with the tagline.
Eventually.
Night, everybody.